is Tim Campsa with TBC Action Coach of Indiana with our Business Spotlight series. The purpose is to interview local business owners and promote them through our social channels and email database. And the purpose of this is to make sure that you know about local business owners, because when the local economy is strong, then the overall economy is strong. When our local business owners are strong and healthy, then the economy is strong. So today I have the pleasure of speaking with Gerald. Welcome, Gerald. It's great to have you on the program today.
Hey, Tim, thanks for the opportunity to connect and have a conversation today.
Wonderful. Well, let's start with having you introduce yourself and tell us a little of your story.
Sure. So my name is Gerald Bush, and I'm with GBKB Consulting. We are a coaching, training, culture, and fractional HR company. And what we do is we support small to mid-sized companies and help them solve their training and people problems and to create solutions for them. And we do that through a variety of different venues. And like I said, when I look at my business, coaching, 20% of my business is coaching, and we're doing one-on-one coaching with executives. 20% of the work I do is fractional HR, and we're on site doing the work for companies as their HR person or as a strategic arm for them as they are assisting their people. And then 60% of the business is really focused on how do we help companies better align their people and create the culture that they need to create success. Because what we know is that when employees are happy and when employees are performing at their best, that's when companies see the most success. So we're there to assist them and make sure that that companies create the right culture so that employees can excel and do the work they need to do.
Wonderful. So tell us a little bit of your, on the personal side, family, where are you here locally in Indianapolis? Just give us a little bit of insight into who you are.
Sure. So I live on the north side of Indianapolis, rather. I'm in Fishers, Noblesville area. Been married now for 18 years. I have 3 kids. I have a 23-year-old daughter who lives in Tampa, and I have 2 kids who are now attending Hamilton Southeastern High School. I have a freshman who runs track and plays football, and I have a senior who plays baseball who is 30 days away from college. So we're excited about that. He's committed to go to Tuskegee University and play baseball next year. So we're excited, and we're a busy family, and life is good.
Wonderful. So back to the business side, tell us, who is your best customer or your best client? Who do you serve? And we call that a target audience.
Sure. So Tim, ideally, I've played with that over the last year, and I'm sure we'll talk about this later. But when I originally started this process, I was focused on a specific target with a specific audience. And what I really learned over the last 7 or 8 months when we went through this process with COVID is diversifying my book of business. So right now, my primary target is small to mid-sized businesses, but I have an array of business. I work with retail, I work with distribution, I work with manufacturing, I work with for-profits and not-for-profit organizations. So when people ask, what's your niche? I tend to stay away from that, because ideally in the last 6 months, what has really taught me is the more that I can diversify my business, the more I can sustain my business. So I would say small to mid-sized businesses are my target when I go out to the market. But as for specific industries, I'm really open to that. And I've had a lot of success in all of those.
Yeah, I can definitely appreciate that we're industry agnostic as well. And I get the same question of, wanting a specific industry. So with those small business owners that you work with, is there a certain type of characteristic that makes them an ideal client for you?
Sure. So most of the companies that I look at, so my primary background is human resources, and that's the work I've done for years. So when I'm looking for a company, I'm looking for a company who may not have an HR partner, who may not have an HR person on site. So I can go in and assist that company, help them along the journey, help them identify and see things that they may not be specifically looking at. Because what we know is that in a lot of those small organizations, the owner is the executive, he's the HR person, he's the operator, and he's doing all those things. So for me, what I do a lot of time is go in and walk along beside that owner to assist them in that HR journey, to help them identify, what do you need to better support your people? What do you need to better support yourself? So that's where the coaching comes in. And then the culture work is helping those owners identify, what are the things that you want to create to sustain your business? And sustainability is not about what I'm building or what I'm growing, but it's what's that culture, what culture looks like, so that when you hire the right people on, they're coming in saying, wow, this is the company I love to work for. This is a company where I understand what their values are. This is a company I understand what's important to them. And so I generally go in and walk with companies who do not have an HR person, or maybe have an HR person that's not a strategic arm, and walk along with them to help them identify, here's the road that we need to go on. Here's some things that we need to look at. And here's some things that we need to sustain our business around our people to make sure that we're going the way we need to grow.
Wonderful. So you mentioned COVID earlier. What's been the greatest impact that COVID's had on your business?
I think for me, the greatest impact, Tim, last year was really challenging me to look at business different. I started my business in 2019 after coming out of corporate America for 20 years. And as a small business owner, you go into your business thinking, I'm going to do A and B and be successful. And I think what COVID really taught me last year was that even the best laid plan needs to be looked at daily, right? So it taught me to really step back and say, okay, here's what I want to do, but does it make sense now? Can I do this and sustain my business? So what COVID taught me was that even though we have a plan, oftentimes it's important for us to look back at that plan to understand, how does that plan fit where we are today? How does that plan fit to where we need to be short-term and long-term? And so what COVID really taught me to do was to step back and say, okay, here's what I want to do. And I built a 5-year plan, but what COVID taught me was that my 5-year plan need to be a 1-month plan. And then I need to build a plan based on month to month and identify, how does that plan align with what I want to do long-term, but knowing that I need to adjust that, knowing that I need to be flexible, knowing that I need to be adaptable. So I think as I look at last year, I think about flexibility and adaptability. Those were key things that showed up for me last year. And that's what COVID taught me. So as I go out and talk to businesses, is really about, are you creating things that you can be flexible with? Are you creating plans that are adaptable? Because we know that as we go back into the workplace, as we start to bring people back, as we create these cultures, we have to create flexible, adaptable cultures so that our employees can excel.
That's a great insight. I've had numerous conversations where folks would say, hey, so because we can't really predict the future, we shouldn't do long-term planning. And so I've got to talk through that in terms of, really the benefit of developing that 3-year plan or that 5-year plan is more to set what is referred to as our reticular activating system, right? Or our subconscious, right? We've got to paint that bigger picture of what we're going after to inspire and motivate us. But to your point, the only thing we know for sure about our 3-year plan or our 5-year plan is that it's not going to happen the way we mapped it out. So that's why we build in the milestones of, what does that look like in a year from now and this quarter and this month? Because as you're saying, we've got to course correct, right? And we've got to pivot and adapt to the current environment. But if we don't have that 5-year marker, then we don't really have a direction that we're heading towards. But as you're saying, we've got to be adaptable and we've got to be flexible as we're working towards that 5-year goal. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, go ahead.
No, please.
Like I say, and I echo what you're saying. I think it's critical that organizations have that 3- and 5-year plan, because even, with last year, what we know is that if we have steps and we're taking steps in the right direction, at least we know where we're going. Without that 3- to 5-year plan, we're just moving. And then we don't get to where we need to go. We're asking the question, well, why am I not successful? Well, we're not successful because we don't have a plan that lets us know we need to change, or we need to move, or we need to be flexible. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. So here's an interesting question, Jared. It's been said that smart people learn from their mistakes and wise people learn from the mistakes of others. So what's a mistake you've made along the way that you'd be willing to share to help other entrepreneurs learn from your experience?
Tim, I learned early on in my business that I can't do this by myself. And I think so. The biggest mistake that I made that I'll share is that when I started my business, I thought, hey, I need to make money and I need to make money by myself. So I went out and, searched for RFPs and searched for different things I can do. And I went at those alone. And what I realized was that I'm competing against established business owners. I'm competing against large businesses. So I can't do this by myself. So I challenge new entrepreneurs to look back and say, who can I take with me? Who are people that I can do collaborations with? And as you start your networking journey, don't think about networking as I need to build this group of people that I can say are friends or whatever. It's how do you be strategic and identify people that you can build sustainable relationships with, that you can take with you along the journey. Because that way, when you're going to those organizations and they're asking, who can you help? Who do you have to support you? I can say, hey, I have these group of people who are close related subject matter experts that I can bring with me to support those organizations. And for me, I fell on my face a couple of times before I learned that the hard way, because I thought, oh, I did it wrong, or I just didn't do it the right way. And what I realized, I did it the right way. I just did not have the right people around me. So as I look back now, it's really about strategically identifying, I need other coaches to work with me. I need other HR people to work with me. I need other people with other expertise that I can say, hey, I'm looking at this. Do you see something different? Hey, I'm going to look at this project. What are your thoughts? And taking those people with me. And that way, those different perspectives help you to mold something or create something that gets you to the table a lot quicker.
Wonderful. Fantastic insight. Thank you so much for that. Second last question here. We'll have your contact information to include along with this video so folks can learn more about you and reach out to you. But is there anything else that you'd like to add that we haven't covered? Or do you have any types of offers going on, or what's the best way for folks to find out if you're the right fit for them?
Sure. So a couple of things, Tim. So I am opening up a lot of different training sessions that'll be posted, but my primary place to follow me is on LinkedIn. I'm generally posting daily on LinkedIn in different places. So that's the primary place. You can also find me on my website at gbkbconsulting.com is another location to find me. And also, when you think about coaches and think about the work, I challenge people to do the research. And I say do research because there's a lot of people out there that's doing work. There's a lot of people out there that's doing great work. And when we talk about coaching, we talk about doing the work, it's identifying the person who's the right fit for you. And there's a lot of people out there who focus on small to mid-sized business or large business. And I challenge people to go out and have a conversation. Don't just look at what's being posted, but go out and have a conversation, because what I've learned in the last 6 months is that every business is different and every person is different. So when you're looking for someone to work with you, don't look at just what they're posting. Go out, have a conversation, and look at what they're doing, because that will give you better insight to that person. And what we know is that in order to create the work and to get the results that you need someone that complements you. You need someone who's going to challenge you, but more importantly, you need someone who understands where you're trying to go. So for me, when I'm working with clients and working with organizations, I step back and say, hey, you know what? Here's what I have to offer. And I'm interviewing them. And I've turned down clients to say, hey, you know what? The work that you're looking to do is exciting, but it does not fit me right now. And I'm often saying, hey, here's someone else to talk to, or someone else to look at. And oftentimes when clients come to me, that's not the right fit, I will gladly say, hey, here's another coach that may better suit your need. So oftentimes it's going out, researching and talking to people, and don't just talk to the first person and say, yep, this is the right person. Go out and do a comparator. And that way you'll get a real idea of who's best for you. And that way, when you start the journey, you can build a sustainable journey.
I love that perspective. Last question here, Gerald. Tell us what's been most inspiring to you during all the craziness of the past year.
I think, Tim, what's been most inspiring for me is I do a lot of work in the community with our youth. So outside of my work business, I do a lot of mentoring. I do coaching, and I have 2 sons that are in the community. So what's been inspiring for me is the way our youth in our community has really stepped up to say, you know what, I'm not just going to sit back and let things around me happen. I'm going to go out and be in the forefront. I'm going to go out and share my voice. I'm going to go out and share my opinion. And, I'll share the story, my 17-year-old who's a senior in high school last year when all the things was going on, he sat down with me and said, Dad, I want to do more. And being a father, it's cautious to say, hey, here's what you can do. But what I quickly realized was that, what, I have to allow him to determine his own path. And so one of the groups he was involved in, they sponsored an event in downtown Fishers, and to do a march. And when I went to that event, I saw thousands of children, thousands of teens out sharing their voices and doing it in a way that was not chaotic or doing it in a way that was disrespectful, but sharing their voice. So for me, when I think about that, it's how can we continue to do the work to inspire our youth? Because for me, with my sons and his friends, they're our next business owner. They're the next doctors. They're the next lawyers. So we have to be willing to invest in our youth. So as I think about what has inspired me the most, I really think about the kids that are out there that are sharing their voice and sharing their opinion and standing up for what really matters to them.
Wow, what a proud dad moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, hey, for everyone listening to this does conclude our interview today. If you've heard something from Gerald that is intriguing to you, please take advantage of the opportunity to talk with him. Like I said, we'll include his contact information along with this post, a link to his website. And like he said, do your homework. Make sure that you're finding the right fit for you and what your business needs are. And as Gerald mentioned, he's going to be forthcoming and let you know if he's not the right fit for you. He will pass you along to someone who is. So what better opportunity is there for you to learn about ways to improve your business than to meet with someone who's not just looking for the money, but is going to figure out what's right for you. So please take advantage of that opportunity to speak with Gerald. For everyone appearing on the show, we do offer complimentary coaching sessions. So Gerald will talk about that offline. It's been an absolute pleasure learning about you today, Gerald, and I wish you tremendous success.
Hey, thanks, Tim, and thanks for the invite. It's always good to connect and catch up. And thanks for allowing me the time to share today.
Absolutely wonderful. Thanks again, and have yourself a wonderful day.
Thanks, Tim.